Welcome to the Italian Wine Podcast. This episode is brought to you by Vinitaly International Wine and Spirits Exhibition. The 54th edition of Vinitaly was held from 10 to the 13th of April. If you missed it, don't worry. Go to vinitalyplus.com for on-demand recordings of all the sessions from the exhibition. And remember to save the date. The next edition of Vinitaly will be held from the 2nd to the 5th of April 2023.
Welcome to this special Italian Wine Podcast broadcast. This episode is a recording off Clubhouse, the popular drop-in audio chat. This Clubhouse session was taken from the Wine Business Club and Italian Wine Club. Listen in as wine lovers and experts alike engage in some great conversation on a range of topics in wine. If you enjoy listening, please consider donating through ItalianWinePodcast.com. Any amount helps cover equipment, production, and publication costs. And remember to subscribe and rate our show wherever you tune in.
Hello everybody, buonasera a tutti. My name is Stevie Kim and this is the Italian Wine Club on this Clubhouse. It's been some time. We've started kind of as a fun thing to do some time ago. And now we have this Ambassador's Corner, which is it's a fireside chat, but it's really on fire because it's one of our most popular episodes, which we get to replay on Italian Wine Podcast. By the way, I want to thank everyone. I see Pablo there, one of our fans. Thank you so much for joining us today. You know, we went from 23,000. I love to say this because it is a significant milestone for us. We went from 23,000 listen in 2017. So Wayne, I see you, Wayne. Don't get discouraged. You have to be persistent and just put out great content every day. And we've been doing that, especially since the pandemic. And now we are up to more than 2 million listens. Just last year we did 1 million listens. And one of the more popular episodes are exactly the Ambassador's Corner. So thank you so much for that. I have all my phones ringing all over the place. So, and we are very grateful. And this will be our actually last episode last call before the Vinitaly Marathon, because today is actually the first day of the Vinitaly Marathon. Because we are starting with 5-star wines, which is the competition. We'll start today where I'm at Villa 40 in Verona, waiting for the judges to get here. So we'll have our dinner, and then it will precede the 3 days of wine competition, 5-star wines, and then we have 4 days of Vinitaly International Academy. Then we have opera wine, and then 4 additional days of Vinitaly. So we will be off air for a couple of weeks. I hope you guys understand that. But we do have a special space. If you guys are coming to Vinitaly, please pop by, not just at our office, Wine 2 Digital, where there'll be so many events and exciting workshops, but also in the hall 687. I think it's completely, there's nothing there right now. I've sent my people. It's completely unconstructed, but hopefully we'll have a couple of tables and you guys can pop by for a chat and meet some of our staff and just have a glass of wine, whatever. So that's again hall 6. That's pavilion 6, and the designated area is A as in apple 7. So please pop by and hope to see all of you very, very soon. So let's start today's show, which is hosted by Emilia. Ciao Emilia.
Ciao Stevie. Hello everybody.
So listen, Emilia, what are you up to now? Because are you still working for Querciabella?
I very much do, yes. I'm still at Querciabella as the head of marketing and business development, which is a long title that basically covers everything.
Yeah, it means like your one-woman show.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's not true. Actually, I have a great team at Querciabella. But recently I relocated from London back to Italy, which is my biggest life achievement so far, I think. I survived a move across the channel. And that's the very exciting.
But why did you move back? Was it of your choice or the company's request?
No. Actually, Querciabella has always been very cool about having me in London, but it was very much a personal choice. After many years, I just wished to return to Italy. You know, there's a little thing called Brexit that I didn't really like. So,
Right.
yeah, and all the consequences that came with it. Also, generally,
It's
just to be
actually kind of
closer.
a mess because it's
It
easier to
is.
ship wines to New Zealand than the UK right
Absolutely.
now.
Absolutely, it is. And there's just one side of things. And I'm also quite, I mean, I'm getting to that age in which, you know, I favor things like a good bottle of wine and a good meal over whatever London has to offer, to be honest with you. So, you know, life choice, let's say. So,
So you're based
yeah.
in where are you living at near the state? Where are you living?
So it's actually pretty complicated at the moment. So right now I'm in Calabria.
Calabria.
Yes.
That's not very near Querciabella,
No, it's not. I just flew in this morning from Tuscany.
right?
I'm gonna spend some time here in Calabria this year.
Are you
I'm divided.
Calabrian? Why are you in
Not at
Calabria?
all. My other half is. It's family
Oh,
reasons, yeah.
oh,
Now,
okay.
Stevie, you know that I'm originally from Friuli,
Yeah,
and
I
there I
know. I
said
was
it
like,
because I managed to slip it in the conversation as I usually do.
yes, I know. I know you were. I thought you were from Friuli.
Yeah, I'm a proud Friulian.
Yeah, I have
Very
actually
proud.
the dinner tonight is being hosted by Berda, so which is
Ooh, nice.
yeah, so we have I think 14 or 16 producers from Berda tonight
Very
who
jealous.
yeah, they're hosting the dinner for us tonight for the judges.
Great, that sounds great.
Yeah, so
Well
yeah, of
done.
course you're very close to that. Listen,
Thank
I
you.
will let you
Yeah.
take over very soon. Tell us why you've chosen Ivan.
So, well, first of all, Ivan is, I can call him a friend, I believe so. Let's ask him later. Like
Well,
I
I've
would call
met
you.
him because he's, of course, part of Opera Wine.
Yeah, exactly. So you already, by saying that, we already know that we start with a very high quality standard because everything Ivan does, it does it with extreme care and precision. And the reason why I choose him for the podcast, first of all, I couldn't bring Querciabella because that would be a little bit of a conflict of interest, I believe. No, I'm kidding. I've always been impressed by Ivan winemaking skills, to be honest with you. I think that he's one of the best white winemakers of the whole of Italy. And the second reason is because of the amazing work that is done through the years rescuing indigenous grape varieties from extinction, which is something that we all treasure very much, I think, at VIA. But not only grape varieties, even is doing an amazing job in actually rescuing vineyard sites. And this is something that we're going to explore later on during our chat.
But
So
when did you meet Ivan for the
So I
first time?
believe the first time we met was in a black cab in London. At the time, I was working for an English importer, and I managed Gaia as a winery. So I had the pleasure to bring Gaia's son. Now I'm failing to remember.
Giovanni?
Giovanni,
You
yeah,
mean the
of course.
baby?
Yeah, the baby. Now he's 30 probably, I don't know. So I was hosting him in London and, you know, organizing some events for them and so on and so forth. And just by chance, Ivan was sitting at the back of the cab. We start chatting and I didn't really we didn't probably have much time back then to, you know, to chat because I can imagine me being quite stressed and hectic in a moment for a Gaia event. But so that was actually the first time we met. As I said, just by chance. And then later on, I was doing some consultancy work for Italian wineries, and I was cooperating with a PR agency based in Tuscany, and Ivan was one of the wineries in the portfolio. And I had the chance to obviously to meet him and to talk to him and visit most of all visit the vineyards, and that's how we all started. I was, as I
Okay.
said, very impressed by his work.
You know, speaking of black caps, I was just in London last week and I was pretty surprised. I mean, pleasantly surprised because now they're spanking new. They're all like minted condition and they accept credit cards. I was just amazed. You know, it's a lot for England. So, getting back to us. So, what do you think we will be learning from this call today, especially for the VIA community?
So We're gonna cover some of Ivan's work about, as I said, indigenous grape varieties of Liguria and Tuscany, things that even myself I haven't heard about, before talking to Ivan. So we cover a little bit the grape varieties that he worked with and that he has rescued from extinction, but also I would like to explore the concept of heroic viticulture. Not just in terms of the efforts and the extreme conditions that he needs to cope with to make wines, but also this concept again about someone being almost the guardian vigneron, if you like. Someone, as I said, that protects and promotes.
So which grapes will be the focus of your call today? What types of
So one of my
indigenous?
favorite is Vermentino Nero, which I'm sure Ivan is gonna tell us everything about, which has been for me my favorite summer red for a couple of years. It's very interesting. I think if you ever tasted it, I think you can find it quite enjoyable. Easygoing grape. But something even more rarer, like Massanetta, I think that's the name. Few Vermentinos here and there, different clones of Vermentinos. So Ivan has actually a huge variety of grapes that he works with. So.
Okay, fantastic. So listen, before I hand you over the mic, I just want to ask everybody, not just today, but for the listeners on the Italian Wine podcast, we had a small snafu. Joey doesn't like me to talk about this, but we had a small snafu and we got delisted on Spotify, especially. So we had to reset the whole account and start over. So we lost our 1,500 followers. So if I have this small ask, if you can just go on Spotify and subscribe once more, that would really be grand. And instead on SoundCloud, I think we're almost up to 6,000 subscribers now. So we're very, very happy about that. And don't forget to follow our video channel, which is called Mama Jumbo Shrimp. That's it. That's all the publicity for now. Over to you, Emilia.
Thank you so much. Okay, let's start. I think that Ivan can unmute himself. We can get cracking on. Ciao, Ivan.
Ciao a tutti. Hi.
Ciao, welcome to Italian Wine Ambassador Corner. I'm very happy and very excited to have you on board. So, am I right?
Thanks to you.
Can we say that we are friends now after many years of knowing each other and working with each other? Am I allowed to call you a friend?
Yes, but
Okay.
not today because you decided to involve me in this very very important discussion, and so I'm really shy today.
I don't
but
think you
but
should
I
be.
really thank you. I really thank you for this because we could speak about a very very impressionant territory, a very difficult territory that was great 2,000 years ago, and now in the last years could restart with some very very cool estate. Absolutely.
As I said, it's a pleasure, and I'm really hoping to give you justice for all the work that you do. So I would like to start actually from the beginning, how you got started, and we're looking back at the origins of the Renzuola. If you can tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, we could start with my grandfather, because at the end of 18th century the days the history wasn't so nice here in Italy, and so my granddad was one of the person that decided to take the ship and finish as lot of person in family Giuliani in New York, and then he stayed there. For example, another uncle was the first prisoner in Colorado during that period. And so the Giuliani family as very, very known in United States because he was the only that decided after the crisis of 29 to come back, and all the other persons remained there. And he has always in his mind to catch and buy a very very little plot for make a family estate.
Okay, so
And
your family, sorry to interrupt, but your family is from Lunigiana, is
yes,
that
from this
correct?
area, just borderline between Liguria and Tuscany. In 18th century, they move from Emilia on the north of Tuscany, just in this Lunigiana area, because Lunigiana was as we will say, after a very single region, and they moved here, as I said, at the end of 18th century.
Okay, and it was
Yeah.
already like a wine estate, or it was more like a agricultural
Yes,
estate?
absolutely, yes. And so after he came back in 38, he decided to buy, respect the interior of Aig Lunigiana or Aig Tuscany, this wonderful place in 10 kilometers by the sea, just in front of the sea, named Terenzuola. Aig Hill, medium Aig Hill, in the meaning of the 300 and 400 meters by the sea. So the perfect condition in almost 3 hectares at the time for grow vegetables, for grow olive trees, for grow a little bit of vineyard. And then as that time in a self-made family business, also just a little cows, just a little bit of bees for homemade
Honeymaking.
honey. Exactly. And
Okay.
this was the beginning. This was the beginning. Then, with a lot of sons, as that time, and so means,
Large family, I
yeah,
can
yeah,
imagine.
yeah, yeah. And so all these uncles decide with the wars to move, and they move all around the world, in the meaning that, for example, one was a very, very important engineer during the launch of, for example, Apollo 13
Oh my God,
in,
you never
yeah,
told me
yeah, yeah,
about
in
that.
NASA, and other things. And I decided only in 90 years, in 93, to come back to this family, because I was born in Piedmont, in Novara,
Okay.
and I was practice economy. I was studying economy, but with the idea of a single nephew and a single son, and about all my holidays that I usually spend in Christmas time and in summer with this uncle. That was very, very special family, because I was the single one, and so all
So you were the
all the
only heir to
attention.
the family estate in a way.
Yes, all
Okay.
the attention were on me, and so giving
Spoiled brat.
them no, giving them an help was absolutely need, when in 93 he had a heart attack, to give him help. And so my first harvest in 93 was knowing absolutely nothing. For sure, the quantity was modest, because at the time the tradition was that people as the vat for the white and a vat for the red, in the classic style of multivarietal grapes that they usually grown.
Like the old
And
times. Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's also strange, because now a lot of people speak about orange wines, and at that time, just for smile, they seems the same, because the yellow, the white was oxidate in orange, and the red one without pump over and punching down was the same oxidate in a sort of pink, half orange, red, that with very difficult was able to arrive at the end of summer. And so all the wine produced in 92 remains in a room with vinaigrette with a very very ascetic acidity.
I said,
Uh, Yes, and so the
quite
start,
tart as well, I can imagine, and
yeah, the
not
start
very pleasant to drink.
wasn't so simple because I really started not from zero, but under zero. But I say now with the smile on my teeth, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, because also, so you were studying economics, you said at university, and then obviously this thing happened with your family. You decided time to go back and help. But what was really the inspiration back then for you to start doing wines the way you do? In 1990, where were you in 1995?
No, the problems was that my family decide for me the way of medicine. But I want to study medicine. I want to study architect. And so the idea of economy is an idea to say, okay, you don't want that I will study architect, and I will not be proud about study medicine in your opinion.
Oh,
And
great.
so, yes, I put in the middle my decision, and I started studying because of my cousin was people that was involved in economy, and so I decided to study
Okay.
economy in the meaning of give him an help at the end of the university,
But
but
so
really
where
without
were
an
you in
idea.
1995? Answer this question. Where were you in 1995?
In 1995, I was probably near your home
Yes,
because
fun fact of the chat. I managed to put the Friuli
yes,
back on the map again of the
because
conversation.
there was the needing about two exam for year for don't be request in the military service. And
Okay,
so when I decided in 95 to follow my uncles in this
adventure.
single, yes, in single adventure, I leave in part the university, and so immediately arrive a card with a convocation to this
Right.
new address for 1 year in Friuli,
There we go. Now I said
just
it, I
just
feel
on the
better.
borderline with Slovenia. Wonderful place, very very chill place,
Absolutely.
but a very wonderful
Thank you.
person. I met at that time Gianfranco Gallo, Enzo Pontoni, Marco
Wow.
Perco, Alvaro Pecorari, very very special person. And at the end of that year, I come back. I came back, and I've decided that the viticulture, the wine grower, the winemaker, all the term that you want to choose, has to be my life. And so I started to plant my first half of hectare, and at the time it was yet a little revolution because people plant 3 4 thousand vines for hectare, but looking the ancient vineyard and looking at the place in Friuli in Slovenia with 5 6 7 thousand vineyard, I really start to look what was happened in 2000 years in Lunigiana. So
So
I
you
planned,
started, let me get this straight. So you started in Lunigiana with a
yeah.
few hectares of land that you inherited with your family,
I
from your
start with
family,
a
sorry.
few thousand meters,
Okay,
3,000 meters, less than half of hectare.
half a hectare, yeah.
Yeah. And
And
so the
so
first
vineyards
half
were
of
already
hectare,
there, were already on site.
yes,
Yeah,
well, they were
okay.
planted in the opinion of 3 meters on 1.5 meters. And so one time the problem was alcohol, was density, was ripeness, because also with the global changing at that time was very, very difficult to have ripe grapes because the quantity on the vines are a lot. For the
So it
first
was,
time,
you mean like in terms of planting per hectare, numbers of plants?
yeah, 12 was really an Eldorado. And so I decided that yield has to be my first focus. And I
Okay.
plant 2 meters on the 80 centimeters. And so more than 6,000 vines. And
Vines per hectare.
immediately the idea of fineness, of structure, of density. And starting from the follow years, I continue my philosophy in the meaning of high density plantation. And so looking the vineyard lost in 30 years, I restart as 2000 years of history to replant 1.70 on 70. And so means more than 80.5 thousand vines per hectare. That means less than 1 kilo.
Okay, so we are. Can we talk a little bit about Lunigiana and the type of of area that we are talking about? Maybe we describe it to to our audience, and as well as what type of grape varieties you actually found there when you started
Yes.
making your own wine.
Yes, we have to start with the Lunigiana keyword because we spoke yet 2 times about Romans. Because we have to say that the Roman Empire arrived here in Lunigiana with this very, very important gate in Luni in the 144 before Christ. And they won absolutely to conquest France, Gallia, but they didn't because there was a very, very fighter tribe named Liguria Puani that defends this very interesting area with the Apuan Alps. That was probably the place in which these Liguria Puans were able to defend this way that in the future will be the marble way, the pilgrim's way, the salt way, and so very, very interesting.
So we are basically squeezed between the Tyrrhenian Sea and the Alpi Apuane, am I right?
Yeah,
Kind of like leading up,
yeah.
to the Alpi Apuane. Sorry. What about the soil types? What type of soil do we find in Colli di Luni?
So in this area, first of all, we have to say that the Romans catch with them all the indigenous variety that were in the Mediterranean Sea, and this was for us now a real puzzle, like in Campania area. So we have read and in part multiply with the University of Pisa 256 indigenous grapes.
Wow.
And this is interesting also because of the soil, as you said, and as you know, because the Ligurian area, in the meaning of schist and in the meaning of sand, fight against the clay of Tuscany area, creating the Epuan Alps in the classic and historical, magical white marble in the cave of Carrara, in which, starting from the Roman Empire, for example, in Egypt, until Michelangelo, until all the most artists now, contemporary, choose the best block.
Okay. So it's
And
a very peculiar type of
yes,
landscape we are talking here.
because it's a carbonate 100%.
Calcium carbonate.
And the name Alps it is not because it seems that snow, but Alps is a name that geologists give them because probably in a part they were created before a lot of the classic Alpine Alps Sorry for the joke.
Okay.
But was a very, very historical burning. And
So
and
the
the Roman
formation, you mean the formation of the Alpi Apuane was actually preceding the
absolutely a lot
Alpi,
of the classic
the real
ones.
Alps? No.
Yes.
Okay. And so when you started getting serious with the viticulture, you were talking about this amazing puzzle or combination or mosaic of different grape varieties.
Yes,
As
and
I would like
soils.
to really focus about this, so can you tell us something more about this? What was your discovery journey, let's say? So you were mentioning something like a project that you ran with the University of Pisa and something like that about
Yes.
indigenous
First of
grapes.
all, I found because the problem was, as I said, that I didn't study for this job. And so in my trips, in my period in Friuli, and my successful trips in France, in Germany, in Austria, I decided to learn immediately what was, in my opinion, the idea of quality, of style, of energy in the wine, etc. So the first thing in which I started was an analysis about the best soil in my hill, and was very, very special because we start, for example, at 70 meters by the sea and 5 kilometers.
70, okay.
Yes, yes. Really, really near to the sea, with an ancient bed of round stones that was covered with clay, sand, and lime from the top of the hill, in a French mode of pied de la montagne, in
Yeah.
the meaning that there is all the rich contents of the top and the medium hill.
Yep.
Then we pass in the medium hill, and so
Which you
means
call Collina di Mezzo, so
exactly,
halfway up the hill, let's say.
yes. In my case is a gray clay full of rocks, and in this case I have a 8.6 of pH, completely different
Wow.
respect the bottom part, and I finish incredibly at 420 meters with a pure schist, acid and subacid soil with 4.8, 4.7, like in High Piedmont, like in Valtellina, and so one of the most acid soil in Italy. And so I started in all the puzzle of these indigenous grapes to choose, for example, the more fine, and so the stones, the round stones, and the schist for the white, and the clay and lime
For the red
for
one.
the red ones, absolutely. Because we have a very, very fresh and acid wines, and so I had to give a little more smoothness to the red ones.
Okay, and so what type of grapes do you grow there?
So now we grow about 40 indigenous grapes. I probably
Just in Colli di Luni, or that's your overall
in
vineyard?
overall,
Okay, and
yes.
okay,
The bad moment was in 90 years, because in a moment in which all the people probably in all the world are planting Cabernet, Chardonnay, Merlot.
yeah, it's a story that we often hear
Yes,
here.
speak
Here,
about.
yeah. Yeah.
I involve a very, very important agronomist and winemakers, and all the people that finish here say, yes, you have absolutely to plant that varieties. And like a dodge, I I decided to change the way, and I decided to plant Canaioli, Colorini, Mammolo, about reds, for
Yeah,
example. Vermentino Nero at the beginning of
which
20th
is
century.
absolutely one of my favorite red
Yeah,
grapes.
And then, for example, Trebbiano Rosa, the pink Trebbiano was another amazing variety.
And again, a super rare one.
Absolutely, Impermano label.
Yeah.
I pray, Conte Picedi. Conte Picedi was one of the best person that I never met in my life. And he was the owner probably of a lot of part of the best place in the East Liguria. And he was
like a landowner, so I presume
yeah,
like a rich family, rich guy, like owning a lot of
He
land
was
in West
a
Liguria.
count, and he was the safer of a variety named Ruzzese. And
Ruzzese.
yes, and was amazing because Plinio in 79 in this sort of Colli di Luni Colli di Luni wines in Lunigiana wines spoke about Ruzzese, spoke about Picabon. He never spoke about Vermentino.
Okay. So do you
Usually he
think that
spoke about
Vermentino, sorry to interrupt, but do you think
yes,
that
and
Vermentino came
Malvasia
later? Okay, well,
and
yeah.
Malvasia.
Yeah.
And so we have ever restart with the Roman Empire because starting from the Greece, for example, the colons, take with them also from Crete Island in the
Yeah.
gate of Candia. And then if you want, we will explain the
Yeah,
idea of...
we will need to patrol down because I want to talk about Cinque Terre and Candia as
yeah,
well. Unfortunately,
exactly. Okay.
as I knew, time is running short for us because we love chatting, but we
Mhm.
need to keep it on point. So, yeah, you were saying Vermentino kind of came at a later stage almost in
Yes,
Lunigiana.
Vermentino arrives here with the classic white. Vermentino arrives here from Greece as Malvasia, a semi-aromatic Malvasia, and then started this sort of diaspora, and it became Favorita in Piedmont, it became
Rollet in
Pigato in the
France.
west side, it became Roll in Provence, it became Furmint in Hungary. And so the decision at the beginning of 90 years, it was to start keeping the best clonal
Clones.
selection that the university were studying in all the Mediterranean Sea, founding my idea of classic Vermentino in Mediterranean, and started the label of Vigne Basse.
But so
Yeah.
Vermentino Nero, very intrigued about this grape. I said it already too
Vermentino
many times.
Nero.
Is that related to Vermentino? It's like a mutation, like it happens with Pinot Noir and Pinot Blanc, or some sort of
So just for
similar
start,
pattern?
because I am the third phase that is studying Vermentino, we had for respect to name Pierpaolo Rollieri that study in 89 first with the University of Arezzo this typology. Then in the middle of 90 years,
The
Aurelio Cima.
1990s, Cima, right?
Yes, in 95, 97, Aurelio Cima restarted this wonderful project. At the beginning of 20th century, cause of is very, very premium price because Vermentino start his life historically on the hill between Carrara and Massa,
Okay.
because it remained there for 2000 years. I decided to cut some buds to multiply and to move these vines of Vermentino Nero on Luni area, in which the viticulture is just a little bit more simple. And I decided to made a sort of popular, as we said a lot of times, Vermentino, a premium price Vermentino. And so was because in the last 15 years we moved to 1,000 bottles until 35,000 bottles was absolutely more simple to grow on Luni respect on terraces of 2,000 years.
Yeah.
And we are studying the DNA on MAC Foundation in San Michele Adige.
Yes.
That is with Guggenheim, one of two best genetic university in all the Europe. And for now, we have two wonderful news. The first news is that there isn't a similar DNA in all the Europe.
So there
So,
isn't.
yes, and so we can say is 100% indigenous.
Wow.
The second, yes, because a lot of time you think to found something of special, and
Yeah,
it
that is
is
unique and it is not.
yes, it is another thing with another name. And the second thing is that didn't happen the same history between Pinot Noir, Pinot Gris, and Pinot Blanc. So the white Vermentino isn't a genetic modification of the black one, but probably could be the opposite, in the meaning of the white Vermentino probably cross with a sort of Pinot Noir, a sort of Gamay,
Type of grape, yeah.
yes, thousands of years ago, creating the single variety of Vermentino Nero.
Which,
That's
at least from a tasting point of view, would make a lot of sense because Vermentino Nero can remind us
yes,
of a
without
large red
tannin,
wine, without
lot of
tannins, quite
acidity, low
fruity, very
color.
primary
Absolutely,
flavors,
absolutely.
very much primary flavor.
And
Fantastic.
it's interesting. It's interesting because probably the only single value that we had with the global changing, the climate changing, is that this area start to ripe. And Vermentino
You're
Nero
talking
in the
about the upper hill, where you're
yeah.
planting like the red grapes now. It's thanks to
Yes,
climate
because
change, let's say.
the problem
Ripening
was
conditions are better.
yeah, the problem started with the rootstock, the American rootstock, because Vermentino Nero, with a very, very thin skin, start to add problem with the ripeness and also the sanity
Sandwich.
of yes of the skin, in the meaning of botrytis. And though, for example, my uncle, my granddad also were some of the people that decided in 30, 40 years to cut off the large part. In fact, I retook the buds in a very, very old vineyard dated 1887. So probably one of the last pre-phylloxera
Are we
vineyard
talking
in
about the marble quarry, the vineyard that you found close to a marble Cava di Marmo?
yes, for Malta, exactly.
Yeah, because now we need to talk about that because that's one of the most interesting things that you ever told me. And as you can, as our listeners can say, you have plenty of good things to share. So this is in Candia, right? Am I right? Below the Alpi Apuane.
Yes, this was, as we said, a single region, like a sort of Val d'Aosta, and this was for 5,000 years. Then, after the Vine Congress was divided between Liguria, Tuscany, and Emilia. But for example, like in Côte d'Uron, we have a continuous DOC that with the border line start in Cinque Terre with, for example, Vermentino, Bosco, Albarola, and now Ruzzese, pass in the interregional DOC Colli di
Colli di
Luni,
Luni.
yes, in which I am the single common, not because I am on the side, but because I am in the highest hill, and so means just on the top of this elliptic form. And then we finish in the Apuan Alps with the so name Candia of Colli Apuani. And we yet spoke about the name of Candia.
Briefly,
And
because you need to tell me about the marble quarry.
yeah, and the interesting of Candia is that we have, for example, in this parcel in which we refound the Vermentino Nero, 90 meters of sloping. And so we were very lucky because people weren't able to finish with mechanical pieces on the top of the hill, because with a very, very thin terraces, they were able to move on these terraces only by foot, only with a
So
manual.
mechanization wasn't an option. So they kept on doing
Yes.
things manually and actually climbing up and
Actually,
down the
we have
hill.
1,000 hours for hectare,
Of,
like Valtellina, like
of work,
Ischia
you mean?
Island.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if people will go on your website and see the picture that I'm looking at the moment, it really gives you a perception of how steep it is. But also, you were saying like very, extremely small terraces as well. So I can imagine working there could be quite demanding. Yeah.
Yes, we arrived to 12,000 vines for hectare. And working bio and biodynamics is very, very tremendous, in the meaning that we are in 60 person on 24 hectare.
Wow.
So it's a very big job, but it is our job, and as we said always together, I want to be a guardian,
Yeah.
and be a guardian means save this amazing place, because the medium age of people that is growing this area is about 82, 85.
Okay.
There isn't a changing
So
in
there's
the
not a
meaning of
next generation coming up.
no, 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 absolutely
So
not.
you are the superhero hero.
No, I love this area. As I said, I came here one time for holidays, and so I really look at what happens in the down part of the hill in the meaning of anthropization. Because now from La Spezia until Viareggio there is a single city, and all the people, as happens in Mantown long time ago, decided to leave the
To
hills.
abandon the hillside and just move
Yes, and finishing
toward the
in
sea.
the bottom part, because it's more simple everything.
Which is
And
something that
we
I am. Oh, sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
no. I was only saying that the problem of be a guardian is against the global changing, is against fire, against heal, against wild boar, water bomb. So what is happening is not a single problem. Is a commission. Is a
It's a
multi problem.
combination of
Yeah,
different
yeah,
factors that are influenced by the climate, but also I understand commercial reasons like
yeah,
people abandoning more difficult places to live and to work in. And that's a story
yeah.
that we know well in Italy, unfortunately. But so,
And
and
then
it's,
another thing
yeah,
that I want to say is that for 2000 probably and more years, this was a multi-varietal uh,
varietal. Okay.
yes, yes, viticulture. So the idea of single variety start only in 89 with the a single Vermentino di Gallura, respect Vermentino di Sardegna, idea of catch the most interesting aromatic varietal grapes and multiply to be just a little bit more interesting in a sort of national or
Yeah,
international
let's say to make it
market.
also more commercially viable,
Yeah,
if I
yeah,
understand what you're saying.
because it's very difficult to respect historical places. Speak about field blend, because
Okay,
people want to know what is drinking, and so
absolutely.
if you speak about Cinque Terre with 5 million of tourists is simple, but if you could speak about Candia of other places in which people never understand 30 or 100 variety inside, respect Châteauneuf-du-Pape or I don't know. So it's very difficult to have also an help in the meaning of commercial appeal.
Absolutely. But so you just mentioned Cinque Terre, which is actually so far the third place where you're making wines. So you find, this is what I was saying at the beginning of our conversation, you not only rescue grape varieties from extinction, you also go and look for very peculiar places where to grow your wines. I would say very challenging landscapes as well. I think that's one of your leitmotif of Querciabella is why are you doing this, Ivan? Why are you always putting yourself through this difficult situation?
So the problem was Cinque Terre was also in this case the mid because at the beginning of 19th century people grow 1,800 hectares. Every single 10 years, the entire vineyard arrived to the middle. So now in 32 growers, viticulture.
Growers, okay.
Yes, we are able to grow only 48 hectares.
Wow.
And
So every one of you has actually
yes, 1.5,
1.5 hectares on an average.
0.7 meters, yes. And this was, in my opinion, a tragedy because monks 1,000 years ago built 5,000 kilometers of stone walls that are crashing down, also in this case, for fire, water bomb, and wild boar. But
just
the
gonna
reason
say
that
just gonna say one thing. Water bombs are a very Italian expression. Bombe d'acqua. That means
yes,
really
because for example,
violent rain.
yes,
Okay.
in Vernazza in 2010, 2011 died so many people because of this, because rain 180 millimeters in 2 hours. And so if people leave the terraces, at the end also the city is absolutely in a very dangerous place. And so the idea of guardian is ever and ever important.
Absolutely, totally agree with you. It's not only safeguarding, let's say
Yeah.
the numerous grape varieties, also about the heritage, the traditions, but also the landscape, because you are 100% organic. You do biodynamic viticulture as well. You take from some practice from all the sustainable practices, let's say.
Yes,
So it's
is
also
in my
the job that
opinion
you do.
is we need. So if you read the word insecticide, pesticide, herbicide, the Latin suffix side means
To kill.
death, means cut off. Bio is the opposite. Organic means that you have a partnership with lives organisms.
Yeah.
And so
Life.
we absolutely had to work in bio or biodynamic in the meaning of start to think that the vine is a subject and not an object. You have to save and not to be care after a problem.
Yeah.
And
So you need to prevent from you need to
absolutely.
prevent the bad things from happening by working with nature and not
You
trying
have
to
to change
subject it.
your visual. you're not in the meaning of my friend Emilia, but in the meaning of all the people, because copper is dangerous, because chemical is dangerous, because for work against the climate changing, the only way is that the vine, the nature, will be reappropriate his own area, his
Sì,
own
sì.
rule.
Yeah, totally agree. Last question, and then I think we're close to the end. I have just a last question for you, quick one. Do you still
Yeah.
make shakatra?
Shakatra. Shakatra,
Shakatra.
we could say about, maybe we could start with the name, in the meaning that shak could be schiaccia, that
Yeah.
in Italian is like push or bring, and tra is tira, in the meaning of pull. So was a very, very ancient jest, in the Latin sense, of ancient people that live until the Christmas time on the rooftop, and every single evening they put at home these gold grapes
So it was like
drying.
left them outside during the day and then pull the grapes inside
Yeah,
during nighttime, and
yes.
then the morning after bring the grapes outside again. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, yeah, and usually in Christmas time they clean to the stem these we say golden berry, and they ferment.
Yeah.
And the amazing is that Shakitra is completely against sulfur, so I taste a 71, and is again a wonderful dried wine, in the meaning of Tokai, in the meaning of
Tokai
Costanza in
yeah.
South Africa. The problem is that people bottled Shaketrai in a 2-liter big bottle, because one time was exclusively a gift,
Yeah.
because it was for marriage, was for a born of a new child, was for a very, very big event.
But so do you
And
make it or not? Because you're trying to be
yes,
elusive here, but I need an
well,
answer.
yes,
Ah, so
but
okay,
the
fantastic.
problem is that the measure unit is the demi-jounce. Also,
So the
because
big
in
bottle.
my opinion, is very interesting, is the only wine that I produce in oxidation style, looking a bit a sort of priorat or baignoules in white. And so in Demi Jones, one time really on the top of the roof, without
Yeah.
problem, without sulfur and without wood, because the problem of this kind of dried wine is that respect all the dried wine in the world, you haven't botrytis, and you haven't an aromatic variety. And so the sensation that you want to uh, follow is the idea of sea, the idea of salt, the idea of drying, really in the idea of a dried fruit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, we have to call it a day, and I really hope that we've been entertaining people. I love that you started this conversation, Ivan, by saying that you were shy, because we went way too long, I think.
Yes, we spoke about probably the
An
half of
hour.
things that you want to speak
Exactly,
about.
but we need to give
Anyway,
the floor back to our host, to Stevie.
Okay, you guys. I can't believe. I bet you guys can go for another hour easily.
2, 3, 4.
Yeah. So thank you so much for this. This was a great way to end our start our marathon. And thank you, Ivan. I'll see you very soon at Opera Wine. Emilia, you're coming up to Vinitaly as well, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so we will be back everyone. And I'm very much looking forward to seeing everyone at Vinitaly. So that is out. That's a wrap and signing off for a couple of weeks' time. All right, you guys, goodbye.
Bye.
See you very soon.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Italian Wine Podcast, brought to you by Vinitaly International Wine and Spirits Exhibition, the biggest drinks trade fair in the world. Save the date. The next edition of Vinitaly will be held the 2nd through the 5th of April 2023. Remember to subscribe to Italian Wine Podcast and catch us on SoundCloud, Spotify, and wherever you get your pods. You can also find us at ItalianWinePodcast.com. Chin chin!
Hi guys, I'm Joy Livingston and I am the producer of the Italian Wine Podcast. Thank you for listening. We are the only wine podcast that has been doing a daily show since the pandemic began. This is a labor of love and we are committed to bringing you free content every day. Of course, this takes time and effort, not to mention the cost of equipment, production, and editing. We would be grateful for your donations, suggestions, requests, and ideas. For more information on how to get in touch, go to ItalianWinePodcast.com.